you look at the season that Matthews is having right now, he is scoring at a 66 goal pace over 82 games.
That's for this year.
That's for this year.
Yeah, I read that over his last 82, he has 67.
Yeah, and there you
go back to next year. Yeah.
So he's got 67 goals over his actual last 82 games. And this year in particular, scoring at a 66 goal pace over 82. So
it's crazy.
It's been outrageous. And then when you look at Connor McDavid, so as amazing as this season has been for Auston Matthews, Connor McDavid has been outrageously dominant.
Yeah.
Like, it is insane. Okay. He's got 87 points right now. Let me just double check the scoring leaderboard. 87 points, 16 points ahead of his teammate Leon Draisaitl. So when you look at both of these guys, and people have been throwing around these stats on Twitter, when you adjust for era, Matthews from a goal scoring standpoint and McDavid from a point producing standpoint are having like two of the best seasons in the history of the sport.
Yeah, so good.
It is absolutely insane. And what we're seeing from these guys on a night in, night out basis, honestly, your jaw is just on the floor.
Yeah.
The way that Matthews is scoring goals, whether it's one-timers, whether it's that sorcery magic play he made against the Canadiens, batting the puck out of midair around a defender and firing it in. And then you see McDavid, these end-to-end rushes going through the entire team. It seems like every goal the Oilers score, McDavid, or I should even mention Draisaitl for that matter, are in on the goal. And when those guys don't produce a point, Edmonton just like can't win a game.
It's like a headline. It's funny. It sums it up that it's like a headline. Like McDavid didn't score last night or he only got 1 point or something.
It's crazy. And I actually checked the stats on this. There's 11 games this season where Connor McDavid did not record a point. The Oilers are 2-8-1 in those 11 games where McDavid hasn't recorded a point. So, I mean, obviously they're heavily reliant on him. Whereas when you look at the Leafs and Auston Matthews, they're 7-7-1 in games he hasn't played or recorded a point. So it just shows you, obviously the Leafs have more depth from top to bottom. They're just a better team. But Lepore, man, give me your thoughts on just what we're seeing from these two guys this season. This has been ridiculous.
I'll start with Matthews. And to me, his goal scoring ability is so brilliant because he scores different ways. Like, I get kind of bothered when people compare him to, you're like, oh, he's Brett Hull or he's Ovechkin. And it's like, no, he's not. He's not those players at all. Like, when you think of Ovechkin, you think of a certain goal. And that's not taking away from him. A goal is a goal no matter how it goes in. But you think of, okay, in his spot there, pass over, slaps it in. And that's not literally all of his goals, but it's a lot of them. Brett Hull was known for his shot, whether it was his slap shot or snap shot, his shot, Brett Hull. With Matthews, I mean, even having an amazing shot, what goal comes to mind? Or what type of goal, I should say. I don't have one.
No, neither do I, because he could score in so many ways.
Exactly. He scores on one-timers. He's one-time slap shots. He scores with his wrist shot. He scores on that drag. He scores in tight. He scores crazy goals like he did the other day against Montreal. To me, he's Mario Lemieux, if you want to make a comparable, because to me, again, he's that just incredible physical athlete. And I'll say it, like when I watched the World Cup, when he was put on the team North America, what were they, the under 24s? Is that what they were, that team? U24?
It was like under 23, I think.
Or under 23s. I remember watching that and just telling people, we got Mario Lemieux. And of course you get attacked. Oh, I'm not saying, guys, he's Mario Lemieux or he's better than Mario Lemieux. But what I saw was the physical talents. Like there's always that like genius type talent that say that Gretzky had, where you watch him and you don't know why he's better than everybody else. He's just better than everybody else. And the only thing you can point to is his brain. He saw the game slower than everyone. And I see that in Sid too, where Sid will make a play where he enters the zone, just cuts back gradually and finds a guy wide open for a scoring chance, where it looks so simple, but that it was crazy. Like what he did was actually brilliant. And I make the comparison of Matthews to Lemieux because of the gifts, like the height, the size, the strength, the hands. Like for guys that big to have hands like that, the finishing ability. Like to me, that's what Auston Matthews is. And again, like it's an absolute blast to watch him. And the guy's the best Maple Leafs player we've ever seen. Period. Like you see these things come up of like the last time a Maple Leafs player led the league in goals. It was in like the 40s or 50s. I don't even remember the guy's name. Like for me to not know the guy's name shows like how long it's been and how relevant of a player that was. But I mean, the sad thing is, the shitty thing is with these conditions, the guy's been robbed of back-to-back 50-goal seasons. So
what a shame. He would have done it last season, missing the last 12 games of the season. He obviously is going to do it this season if there was a full 82 game schedule. So
yeah,
that sucks.
Yeah. When it comes to McDavid, I thought about it the other day because like we talk about the all-time great players in any sport, and this is like a full-blown sports conversation. I hate when people make comparables and they point to, say, a certain era, and the typical one is Gretzky. And people will say, oh, the game was shit back then and the goalies sucked. Well, what I say to that is, okay, well, then why was Gretzky the only one doing it? And there's also the matter of, well, Gretzky didn't have elite world-class coaching training at 11 years old like these kids have today. He didn't have a one-piece stick. He didn't have the nutrition guy, the off-ice coach. So it's all relative to the time. So when I look at McDavid and I see how much better he is than everybody else, that to me is what's so incredible. And that's always how I've gauged athletes. Like when people ask me who the greatest player ever is, I point to Gretzky because I say no player has ever been further ahead of the rest of the league than he has and probably ever will be. But when you do look at McDavid and how much further he is than the pack, it is bananas in this era to have a player that good. And I said to my buddy the other day, and like not to make it about the Leafs, but let's sit back for a second and talk about elite players. So John Tavares, as an example, John Tavares is objectively an elite National Hockey League player. This guy 2 years ago scored 47 goals. He's caught fire lately. He's approaching a point a game. He's a 200-foot center. Every general manager would give their right arm to have Jonathan Tavares on their team. Okay. So here you have this elite player. Think of if the Toronto Maple Leafs replaced John Tavares with Connor McDavid.
It's a wrap.
We'd be the Golden State Warriors of a couple of years ago.
It would be insanity.
Yeah, and that's, to me, this is the ultimate compliment to Connor McDavid in the way, like, think of teams around the league. The other one I gave was Vegas. And again, like salary cap implications, all that stuff. But okay, here you have Vegas, like they're killing everyone, this and that. Replace Mark Stone or Pacioretty with McDavid. Like
it'd be terrifying. Another team, Lepore, to bring up, even like a team like Carolina.
Absolutely.
You put McDavid on Carolina, they're the overwhelming favorite to win.
Even if you remove, say, like Aho or whoever, like remove the, and then no, it's over. And I think I was saying to my buddy, kind of laughing. And again, I think Oilers fans know what they have. I think fans of the other teams around the league, we should all be saying, thank God this guy plays for this Oilers team right now. Because you could circle, that'd actually be an interesting conversation to list all the teams in the league, like say all the playoff teams, and remove
like
that
their number 2 center and put McDavid on.
Put McDavid, team. Or even like take away their best player and insert McDavid. Yeah. Like you said, it'd be bananas, like the gap that would be there. And it'd be a different league. It'd be a different league for sure if he played somewhere else because he's that good. He is absolutely that. Like in Colorado, take off McKinnon, and that'd be a huge cap thing, but take off one of their top forwards and insert McDavid. It's like they're going undefeated. Like he's that much better than the other elite players in the league. And that's just a compliment to him. I'm not shitting on any other player or any other team specifically. I'm just saying the gap to me is that big. And that's why this guy is one of the all-time greats. And he's proving it this season.
It would be absolutely terrifying if he was on one of these other elite playoff teams. Because here's another stat I'll bring up. And this has been the most incredible hockey stat that I've seen this season. And it was first brought up by Matt Larkin of the Hockey News. And it's something that I've been keeping track of over the last week or so as the Oilers play more games. So the Edmonton Oilers, okay, Lepore, when Connor McDavid is on the ice at 5-on-5, they are plus 86 in scoring chances. Okay. Which is obviously understandable. Connor McDavid is one of the best players in the world. Here's where it gets crazy.
So they're about like +2-ish per game. Okay.
When Connor McDavid is off the ice at 5-on-5, the Oilers are -196 in scoring chances. Almost -200 in scoring chances when Connor McDavid is not on the ice at 5-on-5. That just shows you.
That's staggering.
It is astounding how much this guy is carrying this team this season and just how good he is. Because when you compare that to the Leafs, another thing I've been keeping track of. So when Matthews is on the ice at 5-on-5, Lepore, the Leafs, it's actually a lot better. And just because the Leafs have more talent surrounding him, the Leafs are +166 in scoring chances at 5-on-5 with Matthews on the ice and +38 without him. So,
you said the Oilers were +80 something with him?
+86 with McDavid on the ice and -196 without him.
But you said the Leafs with Matthews are what?
+166. So the Leafs are a lot more dangerous at 5-on-5 with Matthews on the ice than the Oilers are at 5-on-5 with McDavid on the ice.
That perfectly goes to like what I was just saying on how if you insert him on another team, and like I'd like to see what you just brought up with every team and their best player. Like I'd love to see that. Like how valuable is that best player? Yeah.
No, 100%, and that's exactly what I was going to bring up. Like it goes back to that whole conversation. Like you put McDavid on the Leafs, you put him on Vegas, you put him on Colorado, on Carolina, even Florida for that matter.
Like you put essentially anywhere,
like
any average to above average team.
How good those teams would be if you replace, one of their centermen with Connor McDavid. It just shows you. I mean, Edmonton. I'm sorry. I know I've said a lot of hurtful things this year that you guys don't want to hear, and how I don't think that the Oilers are just up to par with the Leafs specifically and some of these other Stanley Cup contenders, let's call them, around the NHL. But man, when you look at numbers like this, what a shame. What a shame that this team has not been able to put better pieces around McDavid and Draisaitl, because there is no excuse, Lepore. That Edmonton team should be, quite frankly, they should be the favorite to win the Stanley Cup every season. You have the best player in the world, the best player we've ever seen since essentially Lemieux and Wayne Gretzky, and you pair him with Leon Draisaitl, who just won the Hart Trophy last season, and really, you're just like they're a good team? Like, you should be one of the elite teams in the league, Lepore. It's so frustrating to watch, man. I don't know. It's
special, man.
It's just, I just, and you could, I'm obviously a Leaf fan and I want to see the Leafs do well, but I want to see this Oilers team do well. I want to see Connor McDavid compete for Stanley Cups. I want to see Connor McDavid, on the brightest stage in all of hockey. I really do. And I hope at some point that the Oilers are able to surround him with some better talent. But yeah, when you look at some of these numbers, it just makes you think, like, what could have been if he landed in a different situation, if he was on one of these other teams right now. It would be terrifying. But
apparently, I don't know if you saw it, apparently on TNT, they got the new contract for the NHL in the US. They want to see Andrew Ference.
Yeah.
Did you see that? For those who don't know, TNT put out their announcement of them getting the deal for the NHL, and it was a picture of, was it Sid or Ovechkin, and then the other player was Andrew Ference. And I was listening to a podcast, and some intern or some kid must have been doing it, because the guy he just Googled Edmonton Oilers captain, and the photo that came up was the photo they used. So some kid literally just probably typed in Edmonton, knew, that captain of the Oilers is a really good player, I'll use him. And he saw the picture of Ference and he used that.
What a disaster.
And again, how I say all the time on the show, I love hockey, I hate the NHL. just for embarrassing us all fans all the time.
Oh God, the NHL always finds a way, Lepore. They always find a way to screw something up.